Everybody, I'm Kathy Hester and welcome to my kitchen. Today we're doing another plant-based chat where we talk with super cool people that I know are and kind of middling into knowing. I won't promise you I know everyone personally, but Lisa and I have had some really great talks. So Lisa Gotte from Planted 365 is who we have on today, and we're gonna do a salad palooza for you. So she has some really exciting, fun salad things for us, and I know that all of us need to eat more salads, and I'm talking to me too, right? Because, yeah, I don't know what it is. It's warm. It's not quite so hot I can't cook yet. Like once July, August kicks in, I'm like, let's do all the salads. But sometimes I'm like, I know I should have a salad, and I don't. And I'm trying to work on that with you. Some of you guys are doing a better job than I am. I have my garden, so I'm trying to get some things from that too. So Lisa and I met when she interviewed me, actually, and we had just such a fun conversation. I just really immediately liked her and just really felt kind of a kinship, which is kind of cool. So as you know from some of these talks, a lot of the plant-based people get along really, really well, and as it should be. And a lot of them are really nice. So, oh, Apple says my t-shirt is awesome. It's Dawn of the Veg, and I meant to look to tell you who this is because it's a vegan t-shirt company. And that's where I have my jack-o'-lantern vegan one too. And Apple is also a salad monster and loves them. And you know what? I love them when somebody else makes them for me. So I'm trying to figure out how to do that. I think I just need to prep everything, have it in the fridge, so it feels like someone else made it for me. Oh, Marilyn's here. Hi, Marilyn. I hope you are feeling better. I got your email today, and I am going to put you picked some classes for Kathy's Cooking Club, so we're going to get that taken care of. And I'm not sure why the email gave you such a hard time, but I'm going to look into that too. But I'm glad Marilyn's been having some health issues, so we haven't been seeing her as much, and she is a dehydrator queen. So if any of you guys have some pressing dehydrator questions, Marilyn is here to answer them for you. So Lisa, I'm going to turn it over to you and kind of let you introduce yourself and kind of talk about your book and anything else that you want. Of course, something on your website and coaching, any things that you do, and then just go ahead and tell us what you're going to show us today.
Okay, well, thank you, Kathy. I also felt a kinship with you when we first talked. It's always nice to find people where you just go, oh, I understand them and they understand me. So I'm Lisa, and oh gosh, I'm an artist, a photographer, and a recipe developer, cookbook author. I blog at Planted 365 right now. And I've been vegan for about 15 years now. I can't believe that it's been that long. I don't know how that happened, but since 2007, I read the book, The World Peace Diet, and that was literally a life-changing moment. I read it in one sitting, went vegan overnight. I have never once thought twice about it. That was just it was it. That the book described all of the different reasons to go vegan, and there's so many. It's not just food. It's not just animals. It's not just the environment. It's everything together, and it just made perfect sense. And I've never looked back. Never been happier. I had like a problem with my credit card when I bought the book. It like charged it twice or something, and I had to call the number, for the website that I ordered the book from. Will Tuttle, who wrote the book, answered the phone. Yes. And so we ended up talking for, as you know, I'm a little bit chatty, and we ended up talking for about 2 hours. And I just, I don't know if the book would have been so life-changing if I hadn't also talked to him for a while, but it was. And I am just so happy. And not long after that, somebody was telling me how expensive it is to eat vegan. And I was like, well, wait a minute. And they're kind of making me feel bad. Like maybe I shouldn't be spending that much money, you know what I mean, on
Mm-hmm.
food. And I was starting to feel like guilty, like, oh my gosh, am I, spending too much? Should I not be doing this? And so I started a blog called Raw on $10 a Day. And I just kept track of everything I ate in a day. I did a day full of, at that time it was raw food, um, and did it for under $10 a day. So my book, after a few years of blogging there, I did get, I did wrote a book, got a book contract, wrote a book, and that
Awesome.
is called Easy Affordable Raw. Um,
And there's a
I
link to buy the book. I know you said it was out of print, but it's still being sold. I think
it is, yeah,
and
yeah.
one question for you, Apple wants to know if you're on Instagram and what she should look you up on Instagram, because she is also an artist.
Oh wow, awesome. Yeah, a lot of us are. You are too, right? You're back, right? Am I remembering that right? Your background is art or art.
Well,
It?
the arts. My background is a musician, so I was a classical French hornist. That's what was
Oh
trained in.
wow.
That's what my degrees are in. I've also done some creative writing and poetry, so I have like a weird background, as well as like I've worked just about every job
Right.
possible.
Okay. That's why we get along. We have so much in common. I've done like when you said, like describe myself, I was like, gosh, I've done just about everything. So, yeah, so wrote a book, kind of shifted from raw food,
Oh,
which is beautiful. I love
Lisa,
it. It's so photogenic.
I'm going to interrupt you one more time. What Instagram handles should they look for?
Oh, I'm sorry. She can go to Planted 365. Just
Planted 365, just like right
yeah,
below Lisa right now, while we're in the two, you can see planted365.com, which is her site. So you could go there and possibly get to the Instagram, or just look up Planted 365 on Instagram. Okay, now keep going.
right. So raw food, I love it. It's so photogenic. It's absolutely beautiful. It's a little exclusive or excluding, of people. So I kind of moved over into more cooked food. I am gluten free just for myself. So I moved over into kind of more cooked, gluten free, vegan, easy everyday recipes. Just things that just things that you eat every day, that are also vegan and gluten free, and things that anybody would love. Anybody can enjoy, pretty much anything that's on my site.
And that's why I really like you too, because inclusivity is kind of like my thing. Because if anybody came over to my house, I'm going to make sure that they can eat. So if someone's looking at a recipe of mine, and you and I had a conversation about this last week when we were just kind of testing the setup and everything, is that sometimes it is, once you make something with a gluten-free option, soy-free option, oil-free options, nut-free options, salt-free options, it's like, is this a recipe anymore? And we were talking about that. But then the thing is like, it gets to be a problem when you're looking at nutritional values, which is why in my books in the beginning it always says, hey, we're doing this with unsweetened almond milk that we buy at the store and certain things that we have as baselines, because you can change everything. And I always encourage everyone to take a recipe that I've developed and use it as a base. Maybe I've made a mushroom rosemary cream sauce and you hate rosemary. Maybe you hate mushrooms too, so turn it into an Alfredo sauce with your fresh basil or tarragon or something, right? Recipes are such a great way to either get inspiration or to learn how to do something a particular way that person does it. Because you and I could both make an oil-free gravy, and we might do it a completely different way, explain the steps and why we chose what we did completely differently. And that's why no one just is going to buy one cookbook, right? You don't go vegan and you're like, this is the cookbook that I will have, and this is the technique I will use, and there I am, right? Because I think sometimes people are like, well, why aren't you more competitive with your fellow vegan cookbook authors? And it's like, well, if I have an air fryer cookbook, somebody else has an air fryer cookbook, they're both vegan, the people with air fryers are probably going to buy them both.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And you help people discover the air fryer, which I did through you and your book. And I love it. I don't use my stove anymore.
Right, and like everybody knows, so I won't go on about it too long, though I've been taking pictures of the Ninja Creamy yesterday, and I'm fingers crossed, today or tomorrow, the pineapple Dole Whip will be up on the blog along with a big post about the Ninja Creamy, and then I'm going to do some troubleshooting things. So I'm so excited, and like I have like 12 pints right now in freezer. So like I get excited about things. Some could call it obsessive, perhaps, but you know, I'm a big person for use your neurosis for the power of good. So if,
Absolutely.
right? So if I'm feeling anxious, maybe that means I can clean something up. Maybe, you know, you can't always use it. Like when you're depressed especially, that's super hard. Though, if you're depressed, it's a great time to catch up on your rest. I discovered that last year. Last year I had some depression and anxiety. That was unpleasant because it was at the same time. But, you know, like little things like when you get, I definitely get a hold of something and go. Like especially in kitchen appliances attract me like a moth to the flame. And you love your air fryer too, and you like some other appliances, don't you? What would you say some of your favorites are?
So I love my air fryer. I got this air fryer. It heats from the bottom and the top. You can tell how old I am by how excited I get about things like, oh my gosh, my air fryer heats from the bottom. But it does, and it's awesome because you don't have to shake it.
What model do you
like,
have? Or
it
what
is Kosori.
Okay, Kosori.
And it's like the big giant one. So, you know, it's perfect for like, you know, 2 people with like some leftovers. So yeah, I love my air fryer, my Vitamix. Because I know you have a favorite blender.
Well,
Which one is it?
I do use my Vitamix all the time. I try to have kind of a budgety blender. And this isn't perfectly budgety. Let me see. Oh my gosh, you guys, I have this cord wrapped around so many things. You're going to hear some exciting noises. And let's see if I can pull it. Sort of. It's let me unplug it. That was
I believe you.
Let me just tease you with it a little bit. So it's this Ninja one that has a smoothie bowl, and actually, and by that it has these things that are kind of like the Blend Tech. So I can move it around. I can do thicker things in here.
Oh, nice.
This runs anywhere from, I've seen it from 89 to 120. So it's not the cheapest blender. It is better than my old Ninja that I probably did pay $20 less for. And someone was mentioning, and I've got to put that up somewhere. Oh, I know where it was. They got a nice blender at Walmart. It's one of the, why can't I think of her name? She had a talk show. She was a child star. She was an actress. This sounds like I'm giving you a quiz. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
You guys just realize the older I get, the more things are like this are going to happen. I'm horrible with names, and we talked about that, Lisa, how bad I am with names. And so Drew Barrymore has a line of appliances at Walmart. She said she got the Drew Barrymore blender, and she's been using it on smoothies, which means frozen fruit. I've not tried it, but I think it was less than $100. It might have even been $69 or $79. And the reason I think it's important, like I love my Vitamix. It's not going anywhere. But I will tell you this, so have you gotten the thing where you can make the adapter for the smaller containers?
No, I just have the plain Vitamix.
And I'm like, where did I put that? It's around here somewhere. I found a second one at the thrift store. It didn't have the containers, but it's the base for $1.99. I know I have it.
Oh my
over here.
gosh.
It's got to be sitting here somewhere.
I love thrifting. I love going to the like garage sales and yard sales and thrift stores.
Oh my gosh, I don't know where I put this. I told you I'd probably be wandering around at some point when we were testing and talking. She was probably like, no, you're not. You're not going to do that. I honestly don't know where I've put it. I put it up somewhere. But anyhow, it's the thing. So, and we're going back to the same thrift store to see if we can find the containers, because they could have come in. Sometimes if you find something cool at the thrift store, it's only part of it. Just kind of stop in, once a week and see if it happens. I've gotten the top for a Le Creuset that way. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And you know what? You don't have to spend like $1 million on appliances. When I very first started, I had a little Hamilton Beach blender that I paid $19 for on Amazon. And that thing lasted me about 4 years. And I abused that poor blender so much. It never died. It actually, at the end, it caught on fire. It actually, while I was using it, it like just shot out flames. And it still didn't stop.
And some of those old things are great because, like, I think I'm 57 now. I think I got this when I was like 18 or 19. I had, and it might have been like a Hamilton Beach or whatever food processor. It was whatever cheap food processor from like the 80s was. It was, and you see it in thrift stores, it's the tan one, whatever that was. And so I didn't have a blender for several years. I made smoothies with frozen fruit in that thing. It would smoke. And so I had that until I was like 35. And I was making smoothies in it every day for a while before it finally was like, seriously. So I do encourage you, so like if you're looking for an appliance, check your thrift store. I'm seeing more air fryers come through thrift stores now. So that's one thing. Also, even if you're like the Ninja Creamy, okay, fine, go on your tangent, leave me out of it. I found 2 Yonanas over the years, and I've seen more at thrift stores, and those little Cuisinarts with the freezer bowl ice cream makers, I'm seeing them at almost every store I go into. So often you can get something like that for like $10. I got the fancy Yonana one, like whatever's the $140 one, for like $10.
Oh, wow. Are like garage sales and yard sales, are those a thing like where you live?
They
I
are.
mean, that's my summer entertainment.
And the thing is I don't know why. I find thrift stores, I don't know how I just did that. I just made our little background get small. Let's see if I can fix that. You can't see it.
No.
But everybody else can see me doing this. Hi, everybody. Yeah, that was weird. And let me get it all the way over here and all the way over here. I did not, after I made our changes, you know what? I did not lock the background. It's locked now. Okay. So we do have yard sales and things like that. I tend to find really cool, more vintage stuff there. And although I find a good amount of vintage stuff, I find a lot of pottery at our thrift stores and at yard sales, because we're such a heavily populated community of potters here in North Carolina because of all the clay. Kathy said, abstract art, Kathy. It was pretty. I'm glad you enjoyed my performance art for the day. And I told Lisa, I'm like, don't worry, it's super casual. I'm going to mess up on something. I've probably already messed up about 6 times. Are you feeling a little more?
I feel a little better.
Okay, good.
A little better.
It's literally, it's just like, it's a bunch of nice people hanging out with us. But
I know. You have the nicest people that come like on your page and watch your videos and stuff. So
I do. And that needs to be the tagline of the show is, I know the nicest people because I do. But Lisa, you're going to tell us, you're going to get me inspired for salads. You're going to tell us all some of these different salads. You're going to use your air fryer. You have a big plan. So I want you to.
Yeah, my plate is slightly smaller than when I talked to you the other day, just because I went, oh my gosh. I mean, wait, let's see how much time we have. Judging by how much we talk, I'll probably do 2 salads, okay? But
And
maybe
that's
3 if we have enough time.
whatever you want.
So,
And so I'm going to go ahead and put you on full screen and let you cook.
okay.
Do you want to move the camera down or you want to talk for a minute? It's up to you.
Yeah,
I'm
let's
putting
talk
you on
for
full
sure.
screen. You can talk for a minute and
Okay.
then move down.
Okay. So, I decided on doing salads because, for one thing, in Michigan here, our lettuce is just coming in. Where you are, it's you probably have. I know you said you had blueberries, and you probably have maybe even like zucchini and stuff. We have lettuce. That's what we eat this time of year up here. Um, you come out of this really hard winter. We've eaten too many Beyond Burgers and too much of convenience foods.
I love
15
that
years
though.
ago.
Because here's the thing, I talk about that too. Like, yeah, I have this optimal goal sometimes, and sometimes I don't do the best choices. And it's really important for people to, especially who maybe feel like, oh, I'm disappointed in myself, how every single day you get to decide to start fresh again. And so it's perfect. Today is salad day.
Right. Today's salad day. I have my husband is a Taurus with a fast metabolism. So we have so much food. There's just so much food. And so I do try to get in some salads. I kind of got out of the habit. I'm really trying hard to get back into the habit because I do love salads. And they're not just, how like they have that meme of, like what vegans eat, and it's like iceberg lettuce with like a wedge of tomato or something like that.
Yep.
And that's so not true. You can make salads that are really big, filling main course dishes. You can make them a side salad too, and those are nice also. One of my favorite salads is just lettuce, tomato, and a little bit of cheese on top and French dressing. That's a salad too. But you can also I've added roasted sweet potatoes, Brussels sprouts. Just threw a bunch of vegetables in the air fryer. Now that I use the air fryer,
Woo!
roast a bunch of stuff and put that on top of just a bed of lettuce and with like a tahini dressing, and it's delicious and it's dinner. It's not like a side salad. Breakfast. I've eaten salad for breakfast. Just put like strawberries and bananas on some greens and maybe some onions and an orange juice balsamic dressing. It's delicious.
So you just said you put onions in your fruit salad.
I do.
You
I
just
love that.
you made Cheryl like get cold chills because she's anti raw onions all the time. But I could see that because it'd have a little bit of a bite with that sweetness.
Right. It's like the sweet and the savory together. That's like my favorite combination. So I tend to, if Cheryl comes over, I will leave the onions out.
You can put them on the side. That's what we do with all the things. And Sherry Yost asks, where are you in Michigan?
I am in Chelsea, which is just west of Ann Arbor.
Oh, cool.
Where is she? Where is she?
Sherry, where are you? If you tell me. And Kathy Sobo is saying, I think with salads, how you cut stuff can make a difference between a good salad and a fantastic salad.
Absolutely, because there's so many choices. There's so many choices you can make about texture, about how you cut all of the ingredients that go in, and the temperature. So I'm doing one warm salad and one cold salad. So there's so many ways to change it up. You can have a creamy dressing. You can have a sweet dressing. You could probably eat salads the rest of your life and never have the exact same salad. So let me get started. I'm going to go ahead and put this down onto my workspace. So today I was going to make a warm salad and a cold salad, and we'll see how much time we have left.
Okay.
So I'm going to put this down and get this,
towards you a little bit?
Yeah.
Just a wee bit more? Right? A wee bit more? There's perfect.
Okay. So I had made So I'm gluten free, and so things like croutons can be hard to find. So
Seriously, because I'm gluten free as well, and so are a lot of people. Like I know Maryland, I believe Apple is as well.
and it's hard to find. It's actually hard to find gluten free bread that's also vegan. So where those two things intersect can be really thin for options as far as gluten free and vegan. So I was like, I really wanted something crunchy and warm and crouton like on top of a salad. So I just made some out of tofu, which I love tofu. I know I was telling you that the other day. Um,
So
I'm
is that
actually eating
pressed
tofu.
tofu or is it extra firm, high protein tofu?
So this is extra firm. We get it at Costco. It's only like $4 for like a box of um, 4 boxes of tofu. But
Ooh.
anyway, yeah. So this is extra firm tofu. I did press it, so it's not like pre-pressed or anything like that. A lot of times I don't press it. This time I did though, because I was going to be meeting with you.
That's funny. Like some things I
I want to
press
make
it,
it
some things I
fancy.
don't. So like I'll have some regular extra firm and then I'll have the high protein for like a quick stir fry. And Sherry O says I'm in Ada up by Grand Rapids.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know where that's at.
And
Yeah.
Apple says, "Yep, I need gluten free too. Your memory for these details is phenomenal. I remember what people eat, but I will forget. Apple, I've called you Apple for so long. If you started changing to your real name, I would never know who you were again."
So, you know what? I might need a bigger. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna get a bigger container because that's
Oh,
not gonna.
absolutely. I do that all the time. My people know I'm the queen of having a pot that's slightly too small for anything. Um, Yeah, I was talking to Lisa when we were having our call too, and it's like I can remember the first letter of people's names, and that's it. But I can remember what you eat, if you have an allergy, like if you tell me some significant detail about your life, I remember those. But like, just like the Drew Barrymore, I'm like, it's a name, so it's gone. Okay, and Kathy Salbo says, when you say press, do you just wrap it in a towel and put something heavy on it? How do you press your tofu, Lisa?
Well, today, because we're building a house, I have a lot of my stuff in storage. Um, I have lost my tofu press. So I
No!
know, I know. And so I just put it, with a plate on top of it, in the sink with like a board underneath and a plate on top of it and some heavy stuff. I did it old school. I did it old school today.
And I think that's great. I do have a tofu press. One of the things I like about having a tofu press is I can put the tofu in there, wait a couple minutes, pour most of the water out, put it in the fridge, and let it press it overnight. Um, And I worry about the animals when I make a big pressing pile, so I'll have it wrapped in a clean dish towel or some paper towels. And remember, don't put any kind of fabric softener on your dish towels just for those reasons. And then I'll have a cast iron pan and who knows what piled up. And then whenever it falls, I'm like, so that's why I do it a different way.
Yeah. And I can tell it's a different texture than when I don't press it. And a lot of liquid did come out of it today. I was surprised. I had forgotten kind of how much liquid is in a block of tofu. So, I was glad that I did it so that I didn't have soggy tofu for this. So yeah, so these are just going to be croutons. They're like, crouton size. And then I put a little tiny bit of, maybe like a teaspoon or two of cornstarch just because they kind of crisp up a little bit more. Um, and let's see, what do I have in here? And then I've got, let's see, what do I have in here? Garlic powder, onion powder, pepper, and I finally got some of that Lowry's seasoned salt,
Ooh.
which I like now. And so if you use salt, some people don't. So I use that. And just, the other thing was too small because you just kind of shake it.
I
You
do
know?
that too. And
Just,
if for some reason you can't find organic cornstarch or you have a corn allergy like Marilyn does, you could use something like tapioca starch or arrowroot, really whatever
arrowroot is
starch you
good.
usually use.
So yeah, you just get them coated. And at this point, you know, if you use oil, you can spray them lightly with oil. I have one of these, and it just sprays like kind of a light mist of oil if you use that. I go back and forth. Sometimes I'm oil free, sometimes I'm not.
And another thing you can do, like with the tofu, let's say I pressed it for 2 days. I left it in the fridge. Not that I would ever do that, but I've done it several times. And then it's too dry. Let's say for some reason it's too dry. I could actually toss that in a little aquafaba to get the stuff to
nice.
stick. Normally, tofu, like especially if you get the high protein when you cut it, it's still wet enough for spices to stick.
So we used our air fryer last night and I forgot and I didn't clean it out. So.
Oh, if I had $1 for every time I open up my air fryer and go, oh.
This is between me and you. Okay.
Just me and you and the internet, don't worry. And it's not as bad as mine has been before. So if we're making something like something Jardin for Cheryl, the oil just drips and you get crumbs everywhere. It looks so much worse than it is. And don't forget, after your air fryer cools down, you can soak everything that you're seeing right there in some warm soapy water. And so if you did cook something oily, or if your significant other cooked something super oily, it will come out.
You know what? This is so easy to clean. It didn't, you know, it's not clean right now because it takes long to clean it. I mean, you can literally just wipe it out even with like a damp paper towel. And
it's
bam.
Very true. Now, Ronnie changed her picture, so now I'm not going to call Ronnie he anymore, but I wouldn't have anyhow. But it's, I promise, is tapioca flour and starch interchangeable? I believe it is the same thing. So a lot of times when I'm making gluten-free bread or something like that, it'll say tapioca flour, but it's tapioca starch.
Yeah, tapioca is just starchy. Yeah, either way, it's the same thing. And you can use tapioca starch, tapioca flour, you can use arrowroot. If you have none of those things, you can use a light dusting of whatever flour you use. It just kind of, I don't know, it just adds a little bit more crispiness to it. So I'm going to put these in the air fryer at 400 for about 12 minutes.
And if your air fryer doesn't have a 400, but it has a 390, that works just as fine. So some air fryers have all the numbers and some don't. And Kathy Sabo, I don't have an air fryer, but there was a time several years ago when I first started seeing air fryer demos that people used liners in their air fryers. Is that still a thing? For me, it is. I have paper liners, and you can buy silicone liners. So those liners are really like what dumpling steaming paper used to be. So there's holes to let the air go through. So yes.
Oh, nice. So these are the ingredients for the salad part of this. You know, it's just whatever your favorite lettuce is. This is green leaf lettuce. It's what was kind of on sale last night at the grocery store. I like it. It's kind of crisp. Romaine is good with this. And then I'm just going to add just some olives, a little bit of onion, except for Cheryl. And then just make a dressing. And this is a pretty, you know, you might want to have other things with it, but this would be, for me anyway, pretty much a dinner salad, you know, depending on how big you make it.
Well, especially with the tofu on there, and if you couldn't do soy, you could also half air fry some chickpeas with the same seasoning so that they're not super crunchy, or you could go all the way to super crunchy. It's up to you.
Right.
What kind of olives? Are those like black Kalamata olives or?
These are just the black olives that you get out of the just out of the can.
Those
They're
are
just the
Cheryl's
canned
favorite.
olives.
Cheryl loves those.
Oh, I love these. Um, yeah, so with the tofu, if you don't use soy, you can do sweet potato cubes of sweet potato. Do the exact same thing. Put some starch and spices on it. Do sweet potato. You can do polenta. Cut polenta into cubes, and that's like really good for croutons. Um, if you can find a gluten-free bread, you can make actual bread croutons.
And
Gosh, what else?
do you use Little Northern Bakehouse? It's my favorite vegan gluten-free bakery that I can get only at Sprouts. And as of last year, this year they didn't make the hot dog or the hamburger buns, which I have in the freezer that I've been using. But that's a really good place, but it is also quite expensive.
Well, that is the taste of gluten-free stuff has gotten so much better. I don't know how many times now I'll stop and go, wait a minute, are you sure this is gluten-free because it tastes too good? It's still expensive though.
It definitely is.
A little bit less than it used to be, but it's still, yeah.
It just, for a small loaf,
gonna...
it can be $5 or $6. So Karen says, I love tofu in a salad and it brings it to the next level. And I agree.
So somebody said something about, the way that you chop lettuce, and can change the way the salad is. I like it like in kind of thin ribbons, kind of long, thin ribbons. You can cut lettuce anywhere from like a big giant wedge to, one time I had a salad and the lady that made it, she had like this little chopper thing and she just chopped at it until it wasn't a smoothie, but it was really broken down, and that was good too. She put like some lemon juice on it and stuff, and then just chopped at it until. So anywhere in between that, whatever you like. I like the thin ribbons of lettuce for this anyway. Sometimes I'll make them so they're not so long. It's kind of like spaghetti. You don't want them to be too long, or you can't eat them. And then, of course, the other thing is to make a dressing. And I just got a bullet. We were talking about blenders. I just got a blender. I hadn't had one for a long time.
Tell us how you like that too. And Apple says she'd need a bigger salad bowl, much bigger.
You know what? That's true. Me too. And I have my salad bowls pat, my big giant ones. So next time I will have the big salad bowls.
But everyone can get the gist.
Yeah, this but bigger. So this dressing, it kind of has just like a little bit of everything in it. I told you that I ended up talking to Will Tuttle for 2 hours. And then not long after that, he actually came to my house and gave a talk. And I had food afterwards for everybody. And one of them was this dressing. And I had never had as many compliments about anything as this dressing. So it's got a little bit of everything in it. So this is tahini. And so if you don't do oil, you can do tahini, right? It's not the same because it's a whole food. It's just the ground up.
As long as you can do seeds. There are some people who can't do seeds, but that's okay too.
Right. So I kind of put everything in here. So I've got some tahini, put a little bit of maple syrup in it because I personally love anything sweet. A little bit of balsamic. I've got some of those black olives and some capers. and then also the brine from the olives and the capers. That adds salt, it adds flavor, all kinds of stuff. So put some of that in there. And this will be way too much for the salad, but we'll have it later. A little bit of onion powder, garlic powder, and a spoon, about a teaspoon or so of Dijon mustard. So it has like all the flavors. That's one of the things I've found about, and you probably do too, Kathy, about doing recipe development. When things are balanced, like you can tell. So I'm just going to run this through the bullet. If you want to mute me, it'll only take a second because this just takes a second.
Okay, I'll go ahead and mute you for a second, and I'll just kind of pull it up where it's supposed to be. Oops, I didn't mute you. But now you're muted. And I was having a snack. Oh, it's all done. I'm going to unmute you now and go back to the full view.
Creamy olive.
Oh, that looks so
flavor.
good.
I'm going to thin it down just a tiny bit with my drinking water since it's just me. Right. I would not do this if you were here. Thin it down just a little bit. So if it's too thick, sometimes your ingredients might be a little bit different. Like sometimes, one garlic powder is going to be more garlicky than another garlic powder. One tahini might be, because this one's kind of thick. Sometimes it's more oily. So recipe, and I'm going to add a little bit of red pepper flakes. I think it needs a little bit of that too.
And Kathy said, wow, I didn't expect that, blending the olives. And that makes it into a whole food, plant-based thing instead of using the olive oil and getting all that great flavor in there.
Right.
And we've been talking in the background a little bit. It's like someone said you can make lentil and chickpea tofu, and Apple's saying like Burmese style tofu. They blended legumes and then cooked and chilled. And like in my tofu class, we make Burmese style tofu.
Okay, I'm going to blend this real quick again.
Okay, we're just going to live with it. It was fast. And Apple says her favorite salad dressing these days is an orange, a carrot, some rice vinegar, and a nub of fresh ginger whirled in my blender. That sounds like it would be beautiful and delicious.
That sounds really good. Yeah, I like ginger too. A lot of my favorite dressings has ginger in it.
Karen wants to know, is this recipe posted? Is it on your site that we could find it?
You know what the recipe for the croutons are? And what I'll do is do an entire post with these recipes, and I'll embed your video so that people can watch it again and have all of the exact recipes, because as you know, sometimes you make up the recipe as you go. So this is perfect right here after I added a little bit of water. So to put the salad together, we have 4 minutes. How did time go by that fast?
Oh,
anyway.
No. We have all the time you need, so don't panic about anything. We're good.
No. I've got 4 minutes left for the tofu.
I see what you're saying.
Well, that went by fast. So I just take the greens and you can make this as big or as small as you want. What all do I have here? Where's my olives?
So I would love you to tell me how you feel about the Nutribullet too. That I haven't tried that. Is that a budget blender that you like?
This is called a magic bullet, and I think my husband got it at work for something. I think they gave it to him.
Oh, interesting. I wonder if it was a white elephant swap. Sometimes their coolest things happen there.
Yeah, I don't know. I actually can't remember how we got it. I like it. He'll probably appropriate it and take it.
I have seen a lot of those at TJ Maxx and Home Goods. And I just kind of want to tell everybody, if you're looking for an appliance too, don't forget when you're on Amazon.com on the computer, not on your phone, if you click down to the left of the search You can click it and like where it says to go to books or kitchen, go to Amazon warehouse in that drop down and search for things, and you can get like dented boxes or returns and things like that. And you can often find air fryers, blenders, any kitchen appliance very cheap.
You know what else is, if you use the marketplace on Facebook, have you used the marketplace yet?
I have, and there is sometimes some good stuff on there. I think it depends on where you live, because I don't feel like where I live I get the best. Maybe it's because I already have the best appliances and I'm not selling mine. But I find more stuff in the thrift stores here. Also, we have something in Durham called Bull City Swap Facebook group, and so you can swap things or ask for things too. Oh, I love carrots that way.
You know what? They're so pretty. That's one thing I like about making food. It can be so photogenic.
I'm queen of brown food. So like I have an oatmeal book, a bean book, an Instant Pot and slow cooker book. So I'm like, I don't often get to make everything as pretty.
Gosh, where did I hear that? Half the meal is eye appeal. And then I more than once have said, I'm not a good cook, I'm a good photographer. So
it all goes in together.
So yeah, so I'll just throw some of these black olives on here, and because this is going to be more like savory than the next one that I'm doing. So I'll do some olives and capers. I absolutely love capers. I didn't eat capers for the longest time because for some reason, I don't know why, but for some reason I thought they were an animal product. I thought they were like sardines.
Oh, it kind of makes sense because they're used in similar ways as kind of a intense flavor addition.
And then I discovered that they are not. They are the blossom, the little tight bud of the caper bush is what they are. They're pickled blossoms of the caper bush. And so now I eat them all the time. I love them. So, okay. So now we got some hot tofu. And, oh, these did look nice.
Crispy, crunchy tofu.
So these are all nice and crunchy. And let me get tongs.
Yum. And yeah, if you get an air fryer, you need tongs. It's very important. I even kind of have those iron hands where I can grab a lot of things that's very hot, but you will eventually be glad you have tongs.
Yeah, you want to get, I probably want to get like, what are they made out of? They're not plastic. They're like nylon or silicone. Oh. Like these are metal, and I probably shouldn't be using them.
No, I think the ends can be silicone tipped or plastic tipped. I'm not sure. Some of them are for sure silicone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's better not to scratch any of the coating, but in general,
right.
Like what you're doing right now isn't really getting in there and scraping them off, so I think you're fine.
So anyway, so yeah, so they kind of look like just regular breaded croutons. And so that's about like a third of a block of tofu. That's like 4 ounces of tofu. That's actually a pretty substantial amount of tofu. And so...
And it's a delicious way to introduce somebody to tofu as well.
Right. So this would be pretty filling. And then just, this thick creamy dressing. Look at how pretty that is. Oh my gosh, I love it. So I'm going to set this, I'm not going to taste this. I'm going to set it aside and take some pictures of it. And I'll put the recipe on my blog.
That sounds great. One thing I do, not when I'm taking pictures usually, but when I eat a salad, I'm super picky because I like my greens to be equally drenched in dressing. So I toss the greens and then I put everything else. I toss the greens with the dressing and then put everything else on top. I'm a weirdo.
Look at
It's beautiful. And Apple says it looks really good.
These tofu croutons are so delicious. It's just amazing how you can get so much flavor with just tofu and a few spices. And texture, because they're so crunchy. So then, yeah. So what's everybody else's favorite salad?
Oh gosh. I'll read them off when somebody answers. But for a while in the summer, I was eating like lettuce, lots of fresh heirloom tomatoes, cucumbers, like a lot of real fresh stuff, with either tofu croutons, potato croutons, or sweet potato croutons to give it that fullness, you know?
Right.
That looks beautiful though, all those fruits. I love fruit on salad too.
Yeah, so that one was warm, savory, salty, you know. This one's more cold and sweet. So let me move this aside. So it's just, this is some red leaf lettuce. I've got some yogurt and lime juice and maple syrup for a dressing. I have arugula. This would have been really good with basil. Basil was $2.50 yesterday for like 3 leaves.
Oh no,
and
I wish you were close and I could have given you some. I've got opal basil, lemon basil, and regular basil.
So, well, I'm going to grow some.
It's funny because your planting time is like so different than mine. So like I've actually been growing the basil for probably about a month and clipping it and making baby basils, like rooting it to give to some friends or to plant with some of my other plants.
So like what agricultural zone are you guys in?
I think we're 7B.
Oh wow.
Might
That's
be
nice.
7C. I always get it confused. But I'm in Durham, North Carolina, so I'm kind of in the middle of North Carolina.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really good growing zone to be in. I don't know, I think we're 5A. So like our last frost date is, I think like May 15th. I mean, it snowed at the end of April here. So.
Oh, wow. And Apple says, I don't tolerate lettuces very well, so my sorry, I just made this super huge and I'm trying to, there we go. I don't tolerate lettuces very well, so my salads tend to be shredded braising greens and cruciferous crunch. The veg base stays about the same, and my toppings and dressing vary. You could easily do this with kale. I think berries and kale is a really nice combination.
You know, you could even do this with like really thinly sliced Brussels sprouts.
Yep, and cruciferous crunch, I make a version that's kind of after Trader Joe's cruciferous crunch, but I use broccoli stems, Brussels sprouts if they're in season, sometimes some cauliflower, carrots, red and green cabbage, and kale.
Oh, that sounds good, especially the cabbage.
Well, and it stays a long time. I actually shred it all up in my food processor, and it keeps for a long time.
Yeah. So I'm going to throw just some onions on here. You know, I like that sweet and savory. I love onions with fruit. I don't know. It just the combination there, it's so different. The contrast, I guess. So most stuff fresh stuff I put onions on. But obviously, you know, you put what you like. Somebody told me once, they said, cooking is a tasty thing. You know, you put on what you like, you leave off what you don't, and you taste as you go along. I'm putting some carrots on here just because I think they're pretty. So yeah, so this is, again, just super simple, not complicated at all. It's just a salad. And so, like this time of year,
Apple says I batch prep my salad elements. My fridge looks like a salad bar. And I put us back into the double thing because we're highlighting the salad too. And and says that dressing sounds great. Oh, I think Sherry's going way back to Apple's dressing. Sorry about that. It got out. What didn't get out of order? My brain is out of order. So you know how that goes. I'll put you back on full now. That looks so good.
Isn't it pretty? It's just such pretty colors. Since I've been vegan, and you have probably found this also, I eat more varied, pretty food than I ever did before. Before, plant-based, vegan, whatever, before that. There's no lack of variety. There's no lack of appetizing looking food. Oops. I love it. So this is going to be kind of a fruit salad. Cucumbers are fruit, and I'm not quite sure how much is in here, but I'm going to make some just like quartered. This is one of those little tiny.
Oh, it's a cute baby cucumber. Well, Sherry O says it's cold here in Michigan, and she had her winter clothes on this morning again.
That's why I'm wearing a hoodie. It actually was chilly today.
Well, I'm thinking that fruit probably cost you a fortune. A little bit.
It's not too bad. Maybe, I don't know. Everything's expensive right now, right? Isn't everybody having kind of sticker shock for everything?
Totally having sticker shock. Kathy says that she adds sunflower seeds or cut up walnuts to add crunch, which is kind of good. And
tell her thank you for reminding me that I also bought some pumpkin seeds to go on here.
Ooh, yum. And DK Helen says it looks so delicious. Ronald says awesome salad. And Kathy says, I also like sweet, juicy surprises in my salads like mandarin oranges or blueberries like you have. And DK Helen says, I add in hemp seeds. That's a good idea too.
So, so in place of the basil, I am going to put some arugula. I love arugula, especially like when I grow it myself. I didn't grow this myself, but I just absolutely love it. I actually remember where I was the first time I ever tasted arugula, which was not until I was an adult. So that is how much I like it. So go ahead.
Oh, it's going to add a nice bite. I'm wondering too, like if basil was expensive, mint was probably expensive. Mint might be interesting, or tarragon or lemon balm, maybe. Would you consider those?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, lemon balm would be good. Any herb that you like would be good on this. Lemongrass would be good. Lemon balm would be good. Oregano, chives would be good. I had some fresh chives too. I should have used those. But anyway, I forgot I had fresh chives. And the arugula is going to be delicious too. So the dressing is some of the silk. It's just the plain silk yogurt, which I kind of like the So Delicious brand a little bit better. But I tasted this earlier, and it's actually really good. But it's plain because, if you get the sweetened or the vanilla, then that's not going to go well. It's not going to. So this dressing couldn't be simpler. It's a little bit of the yogurt, a couple tablespoons of maple syrup, a little bit of lemon juice, or lime juice, I'm sorry. It's lime juice, but you could use lemon juice if you wanted to.
And if you didn't have any citrus juice, you probably could use a little bit, less apple cider vinegar or balsamic in a pinch.
Right. Yeah, you can always use balsamic and just, stir it up until all the lumps are out, which apparently takes a minute.
It does. That's why I have a little teeny tiny whisk that I use often at inappropriate times and doing jobs that require a larger whisk.
Right. Well, my whisk is something else that just kind of I can't find right now. You know, when I wrote my book, when I got my book contract, I was like, oh, now I got to write a book. They think I can write a book, so I better do it. And I realized that in my blog, I had actually blogged for about 5 years and used like 2 plates, 2 white plates. That was it. So when it came time to photograph my book, I didn't have any plates. So I have garage saled and thrift shopped it and yard saled and eBayed and bought, pottery from people. And I have about 4 million dishes now
Oh, I
and
feel
utensils.
ya. Yep. I have an office full, and then I was even going to do, well, and I do have an Etsy store. We just haven't really been putting anything up because if you have a really great Etsy business idea, having individual items is not one of them. And unless you're an artist, then you're not going to try to list like 500 at the same time.
Right. Well, so I have all these utensils, these dishes and stuff and supplies. And so when I moved, I had to store them while we built our house. And so half of them I can't find. So I do have whisks. I just can't find them. That could be a good reason to go buy more.
Well, yeah, use the excuse for the power of good as needed, but I definitely understand that. DK Helen says, love yard sales and finding old made in USA plates. Yeah, there's some cool stuff. I've been getting, because I'm getting ready to do some extra syrup and mocktail recipes, I've been getting some more cool glasses at thrift stores, and that's the most fun finds for me. Ooh, those pumpkin seeds look good.
Yeah, so there, isn't that? See, now it's just fruit and lettuce and a little bit of yogurt and stuff. But that's actually a fairly substantial salad. If you ate that, you would be at least somewhat full for the next couple hours. So let me taste this. Oh my God, I love it. And that'll be perfect. I'm not, like I said, I'm not gonna taste this because I want to.
You want to take that?
To put on my blog.
Do you want to put the camera back up towards you, and then we?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Is that
Because
about right?
we miss seeing you and your face. That was all super awesome. I feel like everything you did is totally doable. It's easy. And in general, I think it was pretty affordable. And like we were talking, like I got the deal of the century on blueberries, and one 5-pound box is still in there. They were from Georgia, so our blueberries in North Carolina aren't there. So especially if you have a Sprouts or a Costco, sometimes a Sam's Club, you might get some things from another state early that are cheaper, right? Though it sounds like I am so virtuous and good, Lisa. There are times that I will go and spend $10 on something because I just want it. So I spent $10 on raspberries because half of them I want to use for an experiment and half of them I want for this ebook I'm doing. So sometimes you end up, especially as a blogger or a recipe developer, sometimes cost at the moment doesn't factor in. Like I will tell you buy the raspberries when they're in season, but sometimes I have to get them in December.
To take pictures, right? To take pictures for things that you're going to do in raspberry season, which is coming up. So I used to do raw and $10 a day, and so I kept track of what every single thing cost. And for some reason, I just kind of do that in my head, just, I don't know, out of habit or whatever. So this I probably made, because I didn't use that many, I didn't really use that many ingredients. This is probably about a $2.50 salad. So compared to like the 12 or 13 that you would get it at a restaurant, it's,
And that's something to think about too.
maybe
So like
$2.
sometimes when we go out, there are a couple of salad places. There's a Kava restaurant, which is not whole food plant-based because they do have like oil in their hummus, but they do have brown rice, they have lentils, they have a lot, roasted vegetables. So I feel like that's a healthier alternative, but I'm still going to spend $8 or $10 there. And so $8 or $10 on one salad versus $10 to $15 on something you can make 4 salads with is we don't always think the same way when we're buying groceries as eating out. And DK Helen says that she loves seeds, she's diabetic and eats salads every day, and she eats whole food plant-based diet, lost 50 pounds, and so happy, healthy, and love watching this. Well, we're so glad to have you, and congratulations on really sticking to your health goals and getting such great results. And Kathy says, I'm looking forward to cherry season. It's coming soon. Dum, 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 right?
These were on sale last night. Sometimes you can just make stuff, or here, I show them up here. Dried cherries. We're Michigan, so we're like the cherry state, and our cherry season is a little bit later. I think it's in like July, but so you get what's on sale. Are you finding that you save a lot of money at the CSA that you belong to?
I think that I'm getting a pretty good deal. I think it's $27 or $28, so I get 5. They promise you 5 things, and so far, like the kale or the Swiss chard has been bigger than my head. The lettuce I got was small last time, but I feel like I got some other things. I've gotten some strawberries early on because we do some greenhouse strawberries and greenhouse tomatoes. So sometimes even in our winter CSAs, we can get something like that, but not always. It also has a delivery fee built in, so it just appears on my doorstep on Saturdays. And I'm unboxing my stuff every Saturday, so you can kind of see the progression. And I don't know what it is before it gets delivered. I went ahead and booked for the whole season. And it's been so fresh and delicious. And I don't know how much money I'm saving. Just like when I go to the farmer's market, I'm not always saving money over like going to Lidl or Aldi's or Costco. And sometimes you don't save money on fruit at Costco. Sometimes you do, like the bananas, usually not. But oftentimes with berries you can. So you kind of have to keep an eye. But I like going to the grocery. So my best friend does not. So I'm always like, oh, you want to go to the grocery with me? We can just chat. She's like, no. I'm like, I never understand that. Because I'm like, I would go somewhere I didn't want to go just to chat with you. But anyhow, if she's listening, you should go to the grocery with me. But like, I like going out.
Going to the grocery.
Okay, I know. If you were closer, we could be grocery buddies.
Yeah, I would love being a grocery buddy. I think my husband gets tired. Come on, go to the grocery store with me.
Cheryl likes it. Cheryl, at least, she feels like we're being domestic together. So somehow she likes it, and she likes pushing the cart. And I'm like, yes. But like at Lidl, that's where I found all my cool gardening, like raised planters that are like little raised beds and stuff like that. And so it's not like Aldi, only it has better produce in general where I live. So, and they have a bakery, which I can eat nothing there, but just because I can't have gluten. But Aldi sometimes has cheap avocados, sometimes onions, potatoes, sometimes organic. They have a small section of organic. At the farmer's market, and so I've been going to the farmer's market and opening my CSAs the past few Saturdays, and I talk about trying to get a twofer. So if you get the beets, the one with the beet greens, then it's like you paid $2.50, but you've got 2 different items. Right.
We joined something last summer. I really like. I didn't know it even existed until we moved here to Chelsea. And that is, we joined a community garden.
You're going to have to repeat that because you got garbled. So if you could repeat that start part.
Okay. So we joined a community garden. So
Ooh.
it's I had heard about those like in Europe, like gosh, I can't remember what they call them. They have a word for them in Europe, but anyway, it's a community garden, and so we each get like a 20 by 20 foot plot, and we do this kind of cooperatively. It's all organic. Of course, we do like veganic gardening. We try to keep everything veganic, and it's just really nice to be around other people who like to garden. And I don't know if we've saved any money yet, but we've gotten some really good tomatoes out of it, and had a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I can totally see that because it's the same thing. Sandy, Cheryl's mom, gave me a nice birthday present check. And so what I did is I took that and immediately bought dirt and plants and planters and things like that. So there's no way I can break even this year. There's just not even remotely a way to break even. So I'm just looking at it all as a birthday present. So it was all magic just there. And Apple and CJ's from Scotland and Apple's from Vancouver, they call it an allotment there.
Yes, that's what it is, an allotment. Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's cool. And maybe we need to see, can you get internet when you're out there on your phone? Maybe we need to do another show where you're showing us your allotment later on this summer.
Oh yeah, you know what? I'll even since we talked about it, I will link or whatever on the post for this. My husband has a drone, so he takes drone footage of this garden, and it's absolutely beautiful. From like 200 feet above, it looks like a patchwork quilt. It's just beautiful, and so we go out there and take pictures of it from the air all the time.
Oh, I love that. And that would be really kind of fun. I haven't done one in a couple of weeks of my little garden and what's going on. Because like I just have it on my deck, and like literally there's some self-watering planters. There's a couple of raised, like, I don't know, it's probably 2x3 or something like that, or 1x3s. And it meets Cheryl's strict standard of me not making it look like a junkyard. So everything's kind of, if not exactly matchy, it doesn't look like I just went digging in somebody's garage. So that makes her happy. Kathy says there's a neat guy up by you called Michigan M.I. Gardener. He has a YouTube channel and shares all sorts of gardening tips. You know him?
Yeah. Yep. I love that guy. So yeah, give me a few weeks, because we're in Michigan. We just now planted stuff. I have a few lettuces growing. Like the tomato, we just put them in as seedlings. Give me a few weeks and we'll do a garden
tour or something. Yeah, because I'll have to look. I may still have a week open in July. If not, are you still producing in August, or is that like too close to the end for you?
No, actually August is when just about everything comes in.
Okay, I will. I'll email you after this and tell you what times I have open now, because I'm trying to schedule through July, August, and September. So that'd be great to get you in, because I think it's really interesting. Because I'm not an expert gardener at all. I've done some gardening before in the past. I've done raised beds and things like that. But I think what's really nice and empowering is to show people all these ways that you can do it without having a big yard. Like if you're using an allotment or a community garden, that's an option for people who are in apartments that don't have a balcony or a deck. Like we have an acre of property, but it's all trees or kind of swampy. So, and also I had put earth boxes down like 10 years ago when we first moved here, and to go down there and water them where all the mosquitoes were in August, I was like, you know what, do I need that tomato right now? I don't know. It was a detriment, whereas now I just walk out literally, because we have a split level house. So the second floor deck is sort of a half a step up from the front of the house. It's built on a hill. So downstairs a couple of the rooms are actually underground, but the rest is not and has windows. So it's a very weird sort of situation. But the deck is not tiny, but I feel like the amount, what do we have, like 10 1-gallons? Yes,
In Michigan, they call that a walkout.
Cheryl says in Michigan, they call that a walkout. I don't know what that means.
Yes, they do. Yes.
Okay.
We're building a house. The walkout basement is what it's called.
Well, we have a walkout deck, I guess, from the second story. But then at the bottom, there's a door that goes out.
The walkout's the underground.
Oh, the walkout is the underground part.
Right. That's the underground
No
part.
idea what these people are talking about.
Is she from Michigan? Is she from Michigan to know that?
Might as well be. I'm from Toledo.
She's from Toledo, Ohio.
Okay.
But I think
Almost.
But she has relatives in Michigan, so she knows all that. And they do real estate too. So a lot of her family, so she knows fancy things I don't know. But so because of that,
Yeah,
now I can go
40 minutes
out and it's not as buggy. There's not as many mosquitoes that come up. And we're also doing some other things about the mosquitoes, but like in having these containers that are kind of self-watering, there's also lots of things you can get now that you put inserts in. The little things were only $20 each, and it's enough to grow a tomato plant or 2 pepper plants in each one. And it has a self-watering bottom. And so sometimes it's not easy to get a self-watering planter. There's tons of DIY stuff on YouTube. Cheryl is not going to let me have all that stuff out on the deck. So you should do it for me. She let me have all that when we had a bigger backyard and she didn't have to see it. But compromise is part of life. And this actually, it does look nice and everything waters itself really well right now. The only things that I'm watering a lot, because I went ahead and it all started with me getting a couple of container plants from Lowe's, some tomatoes. Those I have to water every day, but these other things I don't.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that would be not have to not have to worry, because sometimes if you wait just a couple hours too long, your plant is dead.
Right, and when I look out when I'm looking through to you, on the other side is the deck, and we have like 2 sliding glass doors and windows. So literally I see everything out of it, and I'm upstairs most of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and it's possible, even if you just decide, I want to grow some basil, because maybe basil is going to be expensive this year. You never know. And if you can get a lot of cherries, because where you are, maybe you can get a giant amount of cherries at the end of the season inexpensively. Maybe you make jam with them. Maybe you dehydrate them yourself or put them in the freezer.
Yeah, if you shop around and, it's harder to find really good bargains if you just like show up somewhere, like one time and go, show me your best deals, you know what I mean? But if you kind of go back, you can get the one time I bought like a big giant box of the most delicious peaches for $5.
Yep.
So, and I made jam and all kinds of stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, get to know your farmers if you can, depending on where you live. Like, especially if you live out away from like where the city is, then I feel like you can go in and do certain things. Like, you can either try and say, if they don't have a CSA, can I come and get things directly from you? And they'll probably charge you less for them. There are even some people that do gleaning programs. So either you can go and after the fields get picked, you can go in and see if there's anything left. A lot of people do that for like food banks and things like that too.
Right. Yeah. And there's a lot of U-picks out here. I don't know if you have a lot of those there, but like for blueberries and strawberries, asparagus.
We do not
Stuff like
have
that.
asparagus U-picks. We have strawberries and blueberries. But I love the idea of asparagus.
That is one of the things that we grow communally in that community garden. There's a big giant bed of asparagus and a whole bunch of blueberries. Blueberries aren't ready yet because it's Michigan, but the asparagus has been fantastic, and we just kind of all share it. And it's really nice. I just love this, the spirit of that, of growing food together and sharing it all, sharing the work, and then sharing the harvest.
That's really awesome, and that's just a nice thought to end on, because I love the way that we're making these salads. So we're doing it as kind of as a kindness to ourselves and our bodies, and then remembering that either you in your garden or someone else worked really hard to bring that to you. And I think it makes it a lot easier to be kind of grateful and remind yourself to be grateful, because we are very lucky to have the food that we have and to have the food supply that we have, even though it's been harder the past few years. I think for me, that's kind of taught me that, our farmers are so important, but so are the people who pick the food for the farmers too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so today, let's just try and be grateful as we have something that we like. If it's you get to go take a walk, if you get to have your favorite tea, or you're putting some strawberries on your salad, any of those things. Because usually I tell you to be kind to yourself, but maybe being consciously grateful is the same thing too. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So thank you, Lisa, so much for coming.
To be grateful for.
Oh, I'm sorry, I just talked over you.
Oh no, I just said lot to be grateful for. Lots of things to be grateful for. So, and I was happy to be here. Go ahead.
And I'm grateful you were here, and that you gave us this time and gave us these wonderful recipes. As soon as Lisa gets those up on the blog, which may take a day or two, I will come back to the YouTube post and I will put those links up for the dressings. So Lisa, you just need to email me, and we'll get that set up for you so everybody can make these yummy, yummy salads. And I think that's it for today. You guys have an amazing, amazing, beautiful spring day. And also, I guess tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to be doing another live, our second live of Kitchen Toys Summer Edition with Julie Hassan. We're going to be, surprise, using Ninja Creamies, and we're going to make a affogato. I always want to call it something else slightly different. So basically, that's fancy for putting ice cream in your coffee. And it's an Italian thing, so I'm going to show you how to make your own cold brew coffee. We can also talk about how, if you don't do caffeine, you could do decaf, or you could even do like a grain coffee that has no coffee in it at all. So you're going to have those options for cold brewing. Julie's going to make a more decadent vegan vanilla. I am making an oat-based date-sweetened vanilla. Ha!
Man, nice.
Yeah, so you guys tune back in. And and Lydia said, is there a class tomorrow? Did you not get the thing about classes? No, it's next week. And next week, you know what? Let me look at this other computer and see if I made a mistake. Because either way, it can happen. But I don't usually do this, but I just made myself nervous. No. The nice cream class is next Thursday, which could be confusing because all I'm talking about is the Ninja Creamy. So Kathy's Cooking Club, which you guys, if you're interested in joining, it's kathyhester.podia.com, Podia. You get 2 classes for $50 a month and access to all the past 3 years worth of classes. So it's 60 classes. Each class is around 2 to 3 hours and has a recipe PDF to go along with it. And this month on the 16th, we're doing nice cream, and I have a fly on me now. You guys probably can't see it and think I'm just losing my mind. And then the 30th, we are going to do a wonton class. So we're going to fill wontons with cool things. And for those of you like me who are gluten-free, I'm going to film early how to make your own gluten-free wontons so that you can do the class too. Super easy to buy vegan wontons right now, just not gluten-free. See, you see that? You saw it then. It's not me, just I feel like you can't see it and I'm being a crazy person. And Lydia said she must have missed the email. Awesome. And she says the classes are amazing. Thank you. Okay, guys, so tomorrow, 3 p.m., coffee and ice cream with Kathy and Julie. So thank you again, Lisa, and we'll be talking real soon and seeing your garden. Bye, everybody.
Okay. Thank you.